this channel doesn't get flagged for this. But let's go. Someone show me a HUD code. You won't find it, but you'll find PIH codes, public Indian housing codes. You'll find that, but you won't find a HUD code. You won't find a Native American code. You won't find any of that, but you'll find public Indian housing codes. Don't let them fool you, good people. Don't let them get away with what they're trying to do. That brother don't sell out. Why is it? So they're taking your rights and you don't realize it because you want to be African American because that's the cool thing to do. But I shared before with Byron Allen. Everyone talks about, oh, he's not one of us. He's corny. How did he use the 1866 peace treaty between the United States government and American Indians to sue Comcast and win? I know, like I say, ladies and gentlemen that are in the chat, boys and girls that will be listening later on, y'all tell me how that happened. He couldn't be, he's in his videos, he'll say African American and he'll interchange it with black. But when you actually go to the writings of the lawsuit, it deals with the American Indian. So how did this very intelligent man, like I say, he's not the best comedian in the world, but if you know his story, this fucker, I've been in the lab with a pen and a pad trying to get this label off. Nowadays, everybody want to talk like they got something to say. When it comes out, when they move, they listen to a bunch of gibberish. But they forgot about James Plains. That's why I'm in, Miss Parker. How you doing, Miss Parker? That's why I've been in the lab. Because I know people are trying, they keep trying to come back, and they trying to come back and say, you're not American Indian. And then they'll try to change the narrative, they'll change the subject. It's like, oh no, that's not what I said. What I said didn't. He don't know what he talking about. And then when I go into the archives and I start pulling these videos up when we were all on the panel together, then brothers get quiet and they get scarce. But I digress. Let's go on and keep having this discussion on what is the blacks of this land that she's talking about. And again, how did Byron Allen put all this together to sue Comcast and win? I know you all don't want to talk to me. I know you all don't want to hear from me. So let's go back and I hope this channel doesn't get flagged for this. But let's go. Let's hear Dr. Claude Anderson. Let's talk to Dr. Claude Anderson. I'm just gonna play a little clip and I'm gonna do this. Fair use. I don't want to hear fair use. So I don't want anyone coming back, oh yeah, the Breakfast Club, and don't you do it, Charlemagne, the guy with the little G, don't you try to do it. Angela Yee, DJ Envy, don't try to do it. I'm just gonna play this little clip, Dr. Claude Anderson. And I want you all to hear what Dr. Claude Anderson is telling you, who's much more intelligent than I am, has dealt with the United States government a lot longer than I've been alive. So let's delve into what he has to say, shall we?
My homegirl Stacey Sells, he's a superintendent in Chicago. You know what I mean? So definitely reach out. Okay, can I count on you all at this raise of hell? Demand something. Yes, absolutely. After you on radio going to start, and we're going to need you to come up here more frequently. There's going to be black educators watching this right now saying, yes, we need those books in our schools. That's right. Thank you. And tell them black kids that right now, it was up until 1948. No white author would put anything about blacks in books. Wouldn't do it. That's why when I examined all the books in the state of Florida, I said, they got to change this. That's why I got lawsuits right now, 1866 Indian treaties. I found out most black didn't know that those Indian treaties were for black folk. And even Obama, every year he was in office, he called 564 white Indian chiefs that come to the White House, give them everything they want. Is that why you use the term Native blacks? That's right. African American? That's right, Native blacks. And I want to help all blacks on earth. But if you don't use the word Native blacks, you shoot yourself in the head. Gotcha. because we say African American, the first human beings came out of Africa. Anybody on earth that comes to America is an African American. You can be white, come from you tomorrow, you're an African American. That makes total sense.
See the part where he gets to talk about the, going back to that out of Africa theory. But I'm gonna go back to another part. Let's go back to this part where he says this. I don't want that to be missed.
And even Obama, every year he was in office, he called 500. And tell them black kids that right now, it was up until 1948. No white author would put anything about blacks in books. Wouldn't do.
Huh? What did he say up to 1948? What started happening in 1948? And what started coming on in the 1950s that they didn't have to take place until really started getting into when they had to do it by law in the 1971, and that was desegregate, because there wasn't no integration. Desegregate the schools, and this is why I call it about this critical race theory. They want to put on Black History Month, and then they always hit you with somebody in this blah blah blah, former slave, such former slave, such son of slaves. Everybody over here wasn't a slave. So a whole lot of us are still free. And if you've been doing your genealogy, you're going to find where it says free persons in such state. You're going to keep finding that. Then it started changing. And we know what took place in 1921 dealing with Walter Flecker. But we know they started going into this and that, and all of a sudden, it started breaking it down. You this, and now you're that, and now you're that. Now I want to go back to Ms. Parker's question before I play this clip again. Ms. Parker, negroes, it just means black. So this is what the first Europeans started calling us. Just every time you place it, just say black. They were just saying blacks. But the blacks of this land, we had tribal names. We had names of our different clans. And so when you start finding out the name of who you are and what clan you're from, what tribe you're from, what people you're from, then you can understand that black was the label given to describe who the people were and their skin. That's all it is. Negroes is just black. So that's why I went the negroes to negro to everything else. But we were already over here. And they were using, nobody wants to have this discussion, but we got to have this discussion, that the original conquistadors were Moors that were in Spain and in Portugal. Well, how do you think they got? How do you think it's like when there's a great exodus of a land of a certain people, there has to be a great influx in another land. So where did these Moors go? You'll find them, like I said, all of them have these different Portuguese and Spanish names, but they coming over here under the auspices of, and you'll find out what happened. That's why I go back and say Esteban. Find out what happened to Esteban, because the blacks, the negroes, the terrorists, the blacks of this land, when they saw the people that they said, "Oh, you look like us, but you sound like them, but we'll accept you because you look like us." Then you find out that Esteban was nothing but an Oreo cookie, and they killed Esteban.